Welcome to the Wealth Transfer with TC. Today, I want to be discussing and going over some prophetic dreams relating to selling your entire portfolio before the crypto crash. Now, first of all, before I get into this, I'm not a financial advisor. And if you guys like these videos that I make, the support links are down below in the description and also the comment section. Now, I'm going to be going over some prophetic dreams relating to selling your entire portfolio before the crypto crash. And this actually comes with several pricing points. And that is the question that people need to ask themselves. Are you going to sell everything in your crypto portfolio when it's that time to do it? Or are you going to hold back 10%, 25%, 50%? I've thought in my own head, maybe I'll just hold back 10% just in case something happens. So that's something that each and every individual needs to think about. And now that we have somewhat of a peace agreement with Israel and Iran, and it's very fragile and it's not going to last, and then you have whatever peace things are going on with Ukraine and Russia, you have some of these tariffs issue being resolved. This is opening the door for a bull run. And with the added peace and tariff deals getting worked out, you're going to see rate cuts. You're going to see stable and cryptocurrency regulations coming. Stable coins should be done here soon, you would think. You're seeing more crypto adoption by banks. We just had the Federal Reserve give out additional rules for cryptocurrency and banks. And then you have all these different ETFs, crypto ETFs, and other investment related things that we are waiting on the SEC to approve because they've been delaying it. And I think what's going to happen is you're just going to see the bulls' cages being opened, and then you're just going to see all these different bulls run, right? All these ETFs being approved all at once, right? You're going to see different cryptocurrencies taking off, right? Because eventually the ETFs is going to give support to those cryptocurrencies, right? And then the XRP and the SEC case, right? And it's still not dropped after all this time, right? So they've just been playing this cat and mouse game, footsie or whatever. And I think it's just going to be all these things are just going to come all together all at once in a very short period of time. So you might see all these different announcements relating to ETFs and the SEC and cryptocurrency and tariffs, rate cuts, all being done and released during this time period where we currently have peace between Israel and Iran and Ukraine and Russia and so on. Now, if BlackRock thought that things were not going to go well, they would be selling right now. But that's the question though. Are you going to sell everything when it's that time? We're going to go over some of these things because we need to discuss this, because if you were in a position when Bitcoin reached its all-time high of 69,000 and then it went to crash all the way down to 15,000. Look how long it took for Bitcoin to go back up to 69,000. And then look how long it took to get to 100,000. Crypto winter and all the different entities related to crypto that were closing down and cutting off their investors and people losing out on billions of dollars, right? We saw that with the last crypto winter. Now, I believe we're going to go through another crypto winter, so do you really want to wait, no matter how long it is? If you guys remember the last crypto winter, see, we were all investing when we were listening to the wrong prophets, saying that Bitcoin was going to reach 100,000, and Shiba Inu was going to be pennies on the dollar and all that. See, we got swindled last time, so I don't want people to go through that again this time around, because last crypto winter was pretty brutal for a lot of people. So there are 3 prophecies that I'm going to go over, and I'm going to talk about each one after they speak. And you're going to get an idea of what are some of the things that we are looking for when it comes to the signs to sell off when it comes to cryptocurrency. Right? Keep in mind, I'm going with older prophecies, and I'm not going with any newer prophecies from people that I do not trust. All right, so I'm getting ready to play this video. Now the question is, do you sell everything in your portfolio before the crash? And do you know how to put yourself into position for the crash with placing low buy limit orders, options, puts, contracts, shorts, ETFs? Within these prophetic dreams, you're going to hear what their instructions are.
for interpretation and seeking the Lord. So I'm just sharing with you some of the things, the dreams that I've received. Okay, on the 24th of March, this was a significant dream. This is one of the reasons I wanted to make this video. I saw the Bitcoin price and it was over 100,000. It was like about 109,000, and it froze on that, and then it changed to 111,000, and it froze on that for a few seconds. And I sold in the dream what I had, and I saw my balance on the exchange, which corresponded to an electronium price of about $1.50. So that's based on my current holdings, so that may change. And then I saw the price of Bitcoin crash rapidly, and I saw the price, as if it was written, I saw it flashing and changing to lower prices, lower and lower, all the way down to zero. I saw it go all the way down to zero. And then I looked at my balance on the exchange, and it was also zero. And I was shocked at that. And then the scene changed in the dream, and I was telling my brother that this was very important information. And then the dream ended, and I woke up. So that's very significant. That shows that Bitcoin is looking to climb at least to over 100,000. I'm not saying that, in my interpretation, that 111,000 is the exact top, but that was shown to me.
All right, so there's an important marker in this, and that's the 109 and 111,000, right? And he said it may not be the top, but the other part to this is electronium was over $1 or equal to $1.50 when he sold, and he sold his entire portfolio. Maybe when we see Bitcoin at the 109, 111,000 mark and electronium over $1, that's the signal to sell. Right? That would be probably, hey, this is your last moment to sell. Right? So the question is, he sold his entire portfolio. Are you going to sell your entire portfolio? Because that's what he did in his dream. Now, everybody's different. And so you might have a partner that might not agree with selling everything, maybe holding back 10%. But when that time comes, and I'm on here on YouTube and I'm saying, I'm selling everything, and other people are saying the same thing, you're going to have to know what your plan is already. And I'm not telling you to sell everything. I'm just telling you what I am going to do, because I know what it was like to go through the last crypto winter. And so the next one comes from the YouTube channel Snare of Wisdom. He's waiting for the stock market crash, and he sees the God candle. But I'm going to go ahead and play it.
But just to get to the point, I saw, this was a couple of years ago, I guess. I had this night vision where I was looking at the stock charts, and it's as if I could see all the stock charts all at one time. And they looked like funnel clouds, spiraling. The candlesticks all looked like funnel clouds, all just spiraling down. And the sense was one of just a surreal, financial Armageddon type thing, where everything was just spiraling down. And then there was this scene change, and all of a sudden I was sitting at my computer with my hand on the mouse, and there was this massive green, just God candle just shooting up, and I was postured in a position of ready to sell, just waiting for that moment when this candle started to slow down and just hit the sell button. And that was that dream. It was just kind of short and sweet.
All right, so the first thing that he saw was this financial Armageddon. And we've talked a lot about dreams from different people relating to that. And I believe what God was showing him was, hey, this is coming, but also showing him this God candle. And he's waiting for the right moment to sell when the God candle begins to slow down. All right, now he doesn't say he's ready to sell everything. He said he was getting ready to sell. So God is telling him that he needs to be in a position to sell because this financial Armageddon is coming. Right? So that is the moment that we are looking for, we are preparing for when it comes to the crypto markets, because they have their own signs when these things are going to happen. You just heard from what Christopher Harris said. He said ETN, from his perspective, whether it's Australian or US, but he said $1.50, and then the 109, 111, which Bitcoin did cross already, but that is maybe the moment when things are going to start to crash. Even in this cycle, even if it goes up to 125,000, there's going to be some type of retreat price anyway, and then we could have the Bitcoin crash. All right, so the next prophetic word comes from the YouTube channel Love is God that was given on July 24th of 2022. Right, many of you have heard this or seen this, and this dealt with the last attempt of Bitcoin to reach certain financial heights before crashing to zero. So he's called this the manufactured spike.
So on the night of the 19th of July, I'd asked the Lord to show me something about the markets. And this is what I was shown. I saw that Bitcoin is about to make its final attempt to rise yet again, but it will fail. I saw that I was fully in the markets, as I am right now, and Bitcoin was attempting to make a very steep inclination, which I might add was very dangerous. Instead of going up at a 45-degree angle, I saw it struggling to rise very steeply at a 90-degree angle. And I knew in my spirit that that was dangerous and that it would most definitely not make it. And so I sold all my positions and exited the markets. If ever you're to see Bitcoin start to move up unusually fast at an almost 90-degree angle, let that be a sign to you. Let it be a warning that it's time to exit. For I'm telling you the truth. From the very moment that I exited my positions, I saw Bitcoin crash right down to zero, and it was a massacre. I literally saw that some people were taken out. They were dead. Some of whom were people that I knew. They were completely wiped out. They lost everything. God forbid, some of them will lose even their lives in this coming crash. So that's what I saw. Bitcoin will attempt to rise yet again before it crashes to sub-zero levels. Let that be a sign to you.
So what he saw was this big steep candle, right? So that is something that has been repeated over and over by other individuals, right? And he sold everything, and once he sold everything, then the markets crashed. The question is, well, when did that happen? Well, Christopher Harris said he saw it at the 109 and 111,000 mark ETN at $1.50 mark. Now, there's another part to this, because he had another prophetic dream that told him about where the price is when this takes place.
Yah is so kind. Yah has once again showed me the manufactured spike and also gave me a number as to how high it will go. Now, before I get into this revelation, I must add that the very first dream that he gave me concerning the manufactured spike was on the 19th of July of this year. And now I find it to be very interesting that this, my second dream, was also given to me on the 19th of October. And personally, I take that as a confirmation, because what are the odds? Now first, I'll go ahead and relay the dream, and then at the end, I'll comment on it. Now, on the 19th of October, Yah gave me a dream where I was looking at the Bitcoin chart on my laptop, as I usually do. And I was looking at Bitcoin's chart history on the daily or the weekly. And the reason why I say this is it had the exact same layout as the charts that I look at in reality. Whenever I'm looking at my Bitcoin charts in reality, it's either on the weekly or the daily. But more often than not, it's on the daily. So in this dream experience, I was looking at the Bitcoin price movement on this chart. Like I said, it's either on the daily or the weekly. Either one or the other. But beloveds, I'm telling you all the truth. I saw that Bitcoin appear to take off from somewhere near around where it is right now, in this dream experience, and I saw a green candle. That is one singular candle. Took off going all the way up. And when I saw this candle, there were some others standing around me in the dream, and I started saying this to them excitingly. This is the manufactured spike. This is it. This is the manufactured spike. I said this to them more than once. And then I started to focus on this unprecedented green candle, the likes of which I've never seen before, and my eyes followed it all the way up. And to my absolute amazement and shock, I saw that Bitcoin went all the way up to $133,000.
All right, so he saw this candle, this gigantic candle, the spike, that went up to 133,000. Now, is this where we sell? Is it going to go higher than that? You know, that remains to be seen. But I think that when you compare, some of the other prophetic words, 133,000, 111,000, and we could see it go from 133 to 111,000. And it doesn't take much when people begin to pull back and start to take profits. But when it corrects, say, to, let's say, 109,000, then it goes back up to 111,000, then we know that things are getting ready to happen, or we just wait for ETN to reach that $1.50 mark. So maybe when Bitcoin makes its correction, down to 109,000, and then you see it, go back and forth between 109 and 111,000, then we could see the drop from there, right? So this is all speculation, putting the prophecies together. This is important because we have to continue to discern these signs that we get, right? Now, whether it relates to a daily or weekly candle or a monthly candle or even a yearly candle, one of the things that you want to look at it from this perspective, right? Because if it's a daily candle, then BTC going that high that fast doesn't do anything for the alt markets, right? Yeah, you'll see the alt markets move, but you're not going to see them run to new all-time highs. Now, when it comes to a weekly candle, you could see all the markets move, but if Bitcoin moves that fast, that far, that fast, you're not going to see the altcoin market move along with it, because it hasn't. For many, many cryptos, we still haven't seen cryptos reach their old all-time high. That's what we haven't seen. And then we need cryptos to reach new all-time highs, right? That's what we should have gotten already. So, but if it's a monthly candle, then I can see at least cryptos hitting their all-time high in that monthly period. Now, when it comes to the yearly candle, I just want people to think about it, because I don't know if it's what he says it is, but on October the 19th, in the dream, he saw it go up from where it was at. And so if his low was 28,000 for the day, then that means you can say that Bitcoin was trading at 28,000 on the evening that he had that prophetic dream. He said he saw it go all the way up. And then when he saw it again, he said he saw it go all the way up to 133,000. So I think God was showing him, hey, from this point, you're going to see it go all the way up to 133,000. Don't worry about the daily or the weekly, but that's because God knew he was going to show him in that second dream exactly where that top is. But I think what we could be seeing with Christopher Harris, right, is that we have a normal pullback. Let's say it goes to 133,000, then we would have a normal pullback. Maybe it goes down to 109,000, and then it goes up to 111,000, and then we have the Bitcoin hack that takes place, that begins to tumble the price of Bitcoin down to zero. And we've talked about the Bitcoin hack, as far as it being like, all these old Bitcoin wallets that, that quantum computers can hack in seconds, right? Eventually, especially because they have weak passwords or weak passphrases, whatever the case. There's a lot of old Bitcoin wallets that are lost that could be easily hacked and dumped out onto the markets. So I'm not going to say if it was a daily, yearly, or whatever, but if you saw it from this price originally, then we could say maybe this is just the beginning and the end of this. It's from 28,000 to 133,000. So you don't really want Bitcoin to go up that fast, because you want the altcoin markets to go up with Bitcoin. Also, this correlates with the 125, 150,000 price predictions by some of the best chart readers that are out there. And I listened to at least a total of about probably 10 different people when it comes to the markets. So the first question is, do you sell everything in your portfolio before the crash? So you guys, you listen to these prophecies when it relates to cryptocurrency, and I think that, in my opinion, that would be the best thing to do. Would be to sell everything. Some people say, well, I don't want to sell like all my XRP, or maybe I'll sell off mostly everything and keep 10% of XRP, Shiba Inu, whatever. You can do that. That's fine. I just know if we actually start to see some of these events happen and it's time for you to make that decision, that 10% that you're holding back could be $1 million. It could be $50,000 or $100,000 that you need. Knowing that we're getting ready to go into another massive crypto winter. And there are other prophecies relating to that. Once we get through all of this down the road in the future, the crypto markets are not going to be as prosperous after these events happen. Right? You understand that most of these cryptocurrencies, there's going to be some point that it'll never be back below a certain amount without the whole entire world falling apart. Meme coin projects will be far and few, right? I think everybody's memed out by now, right? So the opportunities will not be there. Once we get through all of this, the market crash, the crypto crash, opportunities as time goes on will be fewer and fewer. You're going to have a lot of opportunities to invest in a lot of different things that will take you a very long way for a very long time. Now, the next question is, do you know how to put yourself into position for the crash with placing low buy limit orders, option puts, contracts, shorting, and short ETFs? Because I'm going for something much bigger. I'm not waiting for the dinar. I've had people make comments on my videos recently just saying I'm just waiting for the dinar to revalue and then I'm not going to worry about the crypto or the stock market or whatever. And they're leaving themselves so short. And people don't realize that if God is showing everyone, this is where crypto is going, this is where the stock market is going, and this is what's going to happen so that you can benefit, you want to try to take advantage of that, and at least with the most prophetically accurate people. And that's what I do here. I'm not feeding you guys a whole bunch of garbage that's taking you away from the truth. But we're going to make money in this next bull run. We're going to sell, and then we're going to put ourselves in a position to make money when the markets are going down, and then set ourselves up to buy at the bottom of the stock market and to buy option calls and to buy stocks. That's going to make us prosperous over the long term. Right? And then being able to buy as much dinar as possible before the dinar revaluation. Right? So I'm looking at something much bigger than just waiting on one event. Many people are going to sell everything, but they're not going to know how to short. They're not going to know how to place puts or how to get into ETFs or anything like that. Because you'll be able to cash that out before we hit the bottom so that you have the money to buy the stocks. You have the money to buy the option calls. You have the money to buy more dinar. So anyways, folks, that is all that I have for this today. I thank you guys for listening. God bless.